Hello and welcome, my name is Ajaxpost and you may have seen this screen before. Yes, we're back with Computer Tycoon for our third series, largely because the developer of the game, Andrash, going under the corporate name of Pregorian, like a lot of developers do, is they watch YouTube videos and then as soon as someone does something, finishes a series or does some really impressive review of the game or something, they go and release a big update. So all the rules change, and that's exactly what Pregorian did for Computer Tycoon. I wrapped up the last series, I was running away with it, I was playing it on easy mode, and I worked out how to make more money than anyone ever in the world. So kind of the challenge had gone a little bit. So I wrapped the series up saying that come another big update to the game, I will come back to it because I have really enjoyed playing it. And just days, weeks later, yeah, a brand new update comes through. Darn! Me and my big mouth. Right, so now what you will see here is there are no big changes to the interface. The UI is pretty much the same. There's a couple of minor things that have changed and been sort of tweaked and improved upon, as we will see. Most of the changes in this update are in the background of it, the core foundation, the way it works, the balance, the coding of the game has changed a bit to make it that bit more realistic perhaps, and also in a sense to ramp up the challenge, because a lot of players, as I did, weren't terribly happy with how aggressive the AI was, and we're told now that it's a bit more on your heels and might trip you up if you're not careful. So yeah, let's give it a go and see if we can make sense, if I can succeed in this new updated version of Computer Tycoon. So we're going to start a brand new game. And but before I do that, settings, a few new settings have turned up, mostly down here in terms of graphic options. Now slightly unusually, you can't change these until you've started a game. So yeah, if the game doesn't look right once you start it, then you can come back here and change it and change some of these resolutions and so on. We may need to do that as we go into it, but probably not, because I generally don't have problems with game resolutions and graphics and the like. So, but there, yeah, a lot more options here to cover different types of system to enable everyone to enjoy the game. So a new game. We need... Oh, this is a bit of a giveaway actually. I've been here before actually. Yes, just before I turned on the recorder I came here and played around with a few names and people and stuff that I'll be this person and so on. So yeah, of the avatars available, it's still the same list of computer types, some of whom will be instantly recognisable. Yeah, like him for example. I don't recognise this chap, but yeah, he looks nothing like me, but I have worn a brown suit in the past, and indeed brown shoes, though I would always have worn a tie back in the day when I was working in the computer business. As I've said in the last series, the fact that I've worked in the computer business means nothing. Really does, because I don't understand how the hardware works. I was more on the software side of it. Anyway, so I'm going to play with, I think, 6 or 7 competitors. I'm tempted to take this guy out because that is a really straight. I don't like those moustaches. I'm sorry, but then you. No, we're not going to play with you either. There you go. So we're going to have 6 competitors. Now, strange thing here. A heads up. When I first came into this screen, this female avatar was not anywhere on the list of opponents. In this day and age, really, we should have more female representation here. Realistically, of course, yes, I know women weren't sort of major leaders of technology companies back then, back in the nasty 70s, but or before that, or indeed for many years thereafter. But in fact, are they now, to be honest? Anyway, that's a topic for another day. So it would have been nice to see her on this screen. It's a little bit odd not seeing her shown on this front list of potential opponents. Now I'm not going to say her name, so I'm going to change it. If I Skarsgård. I'm not sure if that's how you'd pronounce it, but that strikes me as being slightly more pronounceable than whatever it was before. Yeah, I did change her name to Alexa. Yeah, I am that sad. Okay, who am I? I am, of course, as always, Adam Slade. My company name. Ugh, I need to think of a new one. Oh, I know. Phoenix, risen from the ashes of the old company, which was just too successful. Okay, we have a choice of a bonus here over our competition. So what would you like to be cheaper for you? Scientists, factory workers, or commercial expansion? Now, previously I worked with the 10% production bonus. Research is interesting because that's the big thing that's changed. Well, one of the big things that has changed in this update. So we'll not do it. We'll go with logistics because moving into new countries is always a challenge. But again, that has changed significantly in this update. Now, thanks to a commenter on one of the previous videos on the last series, Sulfurix, I've forgotten your name already, I do apologise, said, why don't you play it next time in very hard mode? Why do people say that? It's like a challenge, they've thrown down the glove. I don't tend to play on hard difficulties because I'm never that good at a game, usually. So I'm quite happy with normal, just tinkering along. Beginner last time was too easy, I discovered eventually. And I'm not sure I'm prepared yet for very hard. But let's go for hard. So this might actually be quite a short series for one reason or another, like me going completely bankrupt. Okay, so there we are. That's who we are. We're Adam Slade. The company is called Phoenix. Phoenix. Just Phoenix. Yeah, that'll do. 30% logistic bonus. Our colour is green, of course. These are my opponents, and I am going to have a hard time of it. Let's go. And the usual blue screen from the good old days of computing introduces us to the game. And finally, press F1 or space. F1, of course. So here's the introduction from Andrish, or Pregorian, the developer of the game. I'll not go through the tutorial here because I think I know what I'm doing. But if you're new to the game, it is a very sensible thing to do because it does walk you through the key sort of mechanics of the system of the game, and gives you some clues along the way as well. But yeah, we're not going to do that. Okay, now the first thing to do is set up a factory to build your computers in. Now, one thing we know is that factory workers are cheaper in poorer countries, and research workers, your scientists, your lab rats, are cheaper in rich countries. Now, we're going to put research to the one side for the moment and just build our factory. I've just noticed I've only got $7.5 million. I'm sure that was 15 on easy mode. Oh, bother! Right, so we're going to look for a poor country. And we do that by going here to our map view mode. And the poor countries, I think, are the pay list ones. There we are, poverty countries. $15 million. I'm not going to afford that. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Whose idea was it to start in this particular mode? No. Actually, can we go here? We can go here, which gives us the list of markets. He's taken away the word country here because it's a controversial thing to say, and it's not strictly true, and opens up kind of the gateway to developments in the game, which have been talked about on the Steam forums and on the Discord channels, about where the game will go from here, and some of the ideas being bounced around between the player community and the developer. So what I'm looking for here is I am looking for just poverty countries. I'll sort them. Again, this is one of the things I love about the game, that when you get a table of data, you can sort it by the columns. Why don't other games do that? Honestly, it really annoys the heck out of me. It's a table, you have to be able to sort it. That's the rule. So we're looking for a country which is reasonably inexpensive, because we're going to buy, what we're doing here is buying our way into that market to allow us to sell to those people. We will then want to build a site, and the sites are also expensive. and I've only got 7.5 million. Oh dear. Right, so Kenya. I quite like starting in somewhere like Africa. Now the thing here is all these different characteristics, attributes of your potential computers are preferred by a percentage of the market. So it's nice, I think, in the early game to get a broad range. People like different sorts of things about your computer, whereas if they're all heavily biased towards one particular feature, if you sort of lose out to the opposition in terms of that particular feature, like you no longer have the most powerful and fastest processor, then you will lose out in that country as well, which might be your home base and your main market. So trying to find a sort of broad brush. I'm not going to spend more than 4 million, I think, otherwise I could easily come adrift, because I don't know how much the market's going to be, the site is going to cost. Laos looks quite interesting. Features and prestige are the main drivers there. Yeah, you see here, Iceland, prestige is their big thing. If you don't get prestige right, then you will sell very few, potentially, in that country. They're all quite heavily weighted to one area or another. Okay, let's go Laos. Okay, so can I double click on that? Yes, so that costs me. Oh, that's interesting. Why is that only costing me 2 million? Oh, of course my logistics costs are cheaper. Yes, that's what, right, okay, cool. So I could go bigger then than Laos, which is 2 million people. I could go Kenya. They're looking for quality, or the Bahamas. That's 2.5 million. Now, at the moment in the game, let's go there. The moment in the game, and I'm not going to be able to find the Bahamas, am I? Because it's going to be a small island somewhere. Oh, why did you choose that one? Where the heck is the Bahamas? Is that the Bahamas? No. Where are the Bahamas? What do I want? I want that's what I want. Right, so there they are. That's the Bahamas. Okay, cool. Right. Yeah, so what was I about to say? I really can't remember. No, I can't remember. Oh, yes, distribution costs. Yeah, the fact that I'm building a factory in the middle of the Caribbean Ocean here, the Caribbean Sea, off the Atlantic Ocean, is irrelevant. There are no distribution costs in the game, so you can sell computers for the same price to the other side of the world without any issue about pricing and so on. So that's not a big deal. One final word on the map. Is that it is wholly randomized. There are plans in the roadmap, and I'll put a link to the game's roadmap in the description below. The roadmap does have plans for a properly realistic world map with the real populations or the real wealth of the countries in the world, and also a sense of the politics. So there'll be a difference between the sort of controlled communist East Europe, Russia, the Soviet Union and so on, and the more free market capitalist countries of the USA, the UK and Western Europe. So that's all to come in future developments for the game. Okay, so what I want here is I want to build a site. That's going to cost me just 1 million. Okay, so we're going to do that. And there's our empty site. That's excellent. Now, I'm not going to build a factory just yet because there's one more thing I need to do before we do anything else. Right, the first thing I need to do is design my computer. Now, this is kind of the grindy bit of the game at the moment when you start off, is you need to define all the individual hardware components for your very first computer. So we will need to create a brand new computer, and it will consist of these options here. It's a very basic home computer. By doing research, we will progress to personal computers and then through to laptops and tablets, I think. I really can't remember. I should know. I've been playing this game for years, and I've been engaged with the community for a while, but I cannot remember because I seldom get that far into the game because I've either won or lost by then. But yes, so in the home computer category, the age we're in at the moment, the era we're in, these are the only things we can put into our machine, and we need to design each one of these. So you need to do this for every component. I mean, it's only half a dozen, but it's a bit grindy kind of thing. You're just sort of going through this. Then once you've done this, we can get into actually putting them together into a computer. So this is going to be... Now I'm going to attempt a standardized naming system, and if you've followed any of my previous videos, you'll know it will go wrong almost immediately. So this is going to be a 4040 with dip memory and a heatsink. Okay, so what we'll do now, you can improve certain characteristics of each bit of hardware, but that obviously adds to the costs of each component. And the question is whether you can then sell it for a price which will be worth that bonus. So the maximum multiplier is 1, so we can't go above that. The amount of cash, can we put extra cash in there? Maximum cash 0, and if you read the screen it tells you. Dear me, what's that? Laptops and handhelds. Right, so yeah, those are 3 eras. We're currently in the home computer. Right, not quite sure why it says NAN there. Tells you how much money it is to build this. Oh, because we haven't built a factory yet, so we don't know. And this is how much it's going to cost me to build or design this particular component. So actually, if we call this the 4040, just so, yeah, I've got it there. Okay, those are my characteristics. Let's create that. And we're going to need to do this for each of our components. So what I'll do is I'll go through this. I won't worry you with all this, and we'll come back once I've got all the components designed. Okay, so we now have a full list of components. We've done all the research, we've built those, so our money has gone down fairly significantly. And one thing I've done on all of them is I've bumped up these sort of sliders here to give them extra features or prestige. Not by a lot, but by a little bit, which might hopefully give me a little sort of leg up, a little bit of a sort of step up from the competition, but then I've no idea what they're doing yet, so who knows. Right, time then to turn all those individual components into a computer. So let's go into that. We can only build home computers at the moment. So, accessories. We don't have any accessories at the moment. Our memory. We've got our RAM memory there. We'll add that. Just double click on the CPU. Removable media. There is none at the moment. There's no graphics cards either at the moment. Gosh, these are primitive devices. Our power supply. We've got a simple AC/DC switchy thing. Motherboard. Storage. And I've given it 15K, I think that is. Display, we've got simply blinking lights. Anyone else remember those days? Yeah. Proper computers. Right, so that's our computer. We can give it a name and we'll call it, what should we call it? PHC. Oh no, what I always like to do, 74/1. The first computer in the year of 1974. It's a home computer from Phoenix. So we'll save that design. We'll create the prototype.
Your new computer model went into the testing phase.
But we do need a factory in which to actually produce it. So we need to build that factory here. That's the factory. Now, the thing about building in a poverty country, a very poor country, is we get this country wealth discount. So as we said earlier, factory workers are cheaper in poorer countries, so that's the reason for that discount. Likewise, if I was building a research lab in a rich country, I get a discount on that as well, because apparently scientists are cheaper in the richer countries. Right, so we need to build this factory. So let's upgrade that from no level to level 1. Actually get the game running. There it goes. And the factory will start popping up. There it comes. out of the ground. And we're currently losing $83 a day, which will rise significantly once the factory is built, because that costs us, yeah, 12.5 grand a day. That's quite a steep hill to climb. I'm getting my metaphors all mixed up here, but what the heck. Right, let's get you going faster.
Your building upgrade has completed.
Right, so that's completed, and that is costing us a lot. Well, it's not 12.5, of course. It's 50% of that, so that's whatever that number is. But we can offset that by reducing our budget. So we can turn this right down. Because we're actually not producing anything at the moment, why pay costs for a factory which is just sat there being idle? So first thing you should always do is make sure you're not spending more on your buildings than you need to. And this applies to the factory and the research lab, where you can set those budgets. So that's fine. We don't want to go to research yet. We want to go into the computer screen. How are you doing? 20 days. It takes 30 days to polish. You don't need to wait that long, but the longer you leave it, the more prestigious the unit will be, which will help it sell, obviously, because it's more tested. They've ironed out all the bugs. They've got it working perfectly. So that's why it goes through this prototyping process. So let's see. We'll just wait for that to come up, and the lady will tell me.
Your new computer model is polished.
Thank you. I knew she'd do that eventually. Thank you. Right, so what price do we want to put on this? Now, currently, the average cost, it's not giving me a cost because I don't have the factory working yet. That's why. So let's come out of here. Go into our factory. Actually, we can do that through here, can't we? So if I choose from these options here, all the countries, but just the ones where I've got a site, there it is. I can go to that site. There we go. And I can turn my factory up. Okay. Now, the concept here, again, if you're not familiar with the game, is production power. So each of the computers, as we saw here, requires so much production power to build 915, and that's based on the complexity and the features of the individual components you're putting into the computer. And so that's the unit cost, as it were, in factory power, and that's the PP here. So the factory PP limits how many of these you can build, and that should then match the demand for production power. I've always called it power, but here it's apparently called points. Whatever. So that's how many will be demanded. So I need to put a cost on this. It's not giving me a cost right now. Perhaps if I get the game running, it might do that. There is the average cost is 763. It knows how much my factory costs to run on a daily basis. So that's the average cost of this machine. So we should price it at... Ooh, what should we price it at? You should make at least double that, shouldn't you, really? Should we make it 3 times? Well, let's say 2,100. Okay, now, having got that price, we can apply discounts to different types of customer. Now, each country has a range of people in it, from very poor to very rich, and how many they have in each country obviously depends on the wealth of that country as a whole. So a poverty level country will have far fewer filthy rich people in it. So you won't have that many people in that range to buy your computers. So you can sort of adjust your prices to match that. So we're selling mostly to poor people here. And they're not going to be able to afford a £2,000 computer if this is their average budget. So we will discount them slightly. Actually, we don't need to discount. We could sell it for more, couldn't we? Yeah, let's sell it for more. Let's sell it for 2,950. There you go. So these people will give them a 5% discount. So the discounted price is still a bit too much. Perhaps 7. You can't put points. You can't put decimal points in there. Well, let's try that. Let's then try 15% discount. So still above their average budget, but that's not too big a deal. As long as you're reasonably close, I think, to it, it should be okay. So if we say 25% discount, yeah, and we'll give a whopping 35% discount down there. Now let's make it 40. Okay, let's see what's going on there. Let's market this baby. Get the game running. We've sold 2. 4. We're selling them. Excellent. So if we go into our customers tab here, we're selling 2 people to very poor people, none to anybody else. Oh dear. Right, so let's take a look out then. What do people actually want in the Bahamas? So if we're looking at the country here, let's not look at that for the moment. Let's look here. So we can see here that the preferences are for what was the purple? Let's look that up again. The purple is capacity. Quality is another modestly important criteria in this market, and comparing my computer list with my competitors, you just click on them down bottom here to turn them on or turn them off. So let's turn them all on, as it were, if you'll pardon the phrase. Which one? There we are, that's them all turned on. Right, yes, so in terms of capacity, yeah, just cheap and great really is who I'm beating. Quality, that is the star. Yeah, I'm ahead of the game there basically. Yeah, of all of them in fact. So if we sort that in terms of quality, yeah, I am definitely the leader there in this this particular race. However, that's not the only thing to be concerned about. If you look at the country details themselves here, the market is made up not just of people of different wealth, but of different types of consumer. We have got cheapskates or bargain hunters, people who like cheap computers. We have got workers, we have got gamers, and then just casual people who just like having a computer to play around with. Now, this is the split between those different types of customer in this country. And if we look here on the help, you can compare our product to others, but it tells us here, this is a bit, to be honest, I think this is still a bit too much text. But remember, the workers avoid stuff with a high temperature or high noise level, and they tend to check displays and operating system, particularly for features and ease of use. Gamers are more interested in CPUs, graphics and memory, especially performance and capacity, and cheapskates will simply look for the cheapest. So while you don't have computers, personal computers, you can't see the results of the surveys of hardware. Yeah, we don't have personal computers, so I'm not going to worry about that. So, can we see? Oh, we are the best selling in this country. That's really good. Probably because we're the only company selling here. As you can see, everyone else is elsewhere, and they've all got 2 countries. I'm missing out a bit here. So I think perhaps I should now look for a rich country to build my research lab in. But you know what? We're going to do that in the next episode. We're making money. Not a lot, but we are making some, which is cool. So can we see here on the sales? We're not selling very many. Our competitors are outselling us dramatically. The trouble is, at this stage, you can't look and see. Oh, you can see their pricing. Oh, that's nice to know. I'm not sure you could do that before. Interesting little point there. I just pressed the spacebar key to stop the game, to put it in pause mode. But obviously, because the focus of the screen focus was here on this dialog box, the spacebar also closed this. A little bit of a coding thing. I know it can be a real pain to get rid of, but it also annoys me. So they're really heavily discounting. If I did the same, shall I take a trick? Are the others doing the same thing? Oh, they are. They are very much discounting. Right, 2 can play at that game, my friends. So let's take that down to 10. Let's take that to being a bit on the cheapskate side. I'm not discounting by much. 50. Oh no, let's go for broke, shall we? So 60, 40, 30.
You don't have enough manufacturing capacity.
Did you hear that? Because I'm selling them so cheaply now, I don't have enough manufacturing capacity. But that's also because in my country, the Bahamas, over here, why did I pick such a small place? Let's go to it from here. I'd set my factory not to produce too much, so my demand is for 16,000, my output 15,000. It's not quite enough, but if I can meet that demand, I should make more money. Yes, excellent. This is going really nicely, actually. And sales are taking off quite nicely. If I change that to, actually if I make that 30, 35 and 55. Okay, because ideally you don't want these 2 figures here, the DPP and the PP, to be too far out of sync. My demand is slightly more than my capacity at the moment, but that's fine. If I take my capacity down a touch, save a bit of money, and I'm earning nearly 5 grand. This is a very good start. Let's pause that for a second. So the next thing, as I said, we need to do is get into the research. So we need to look at this research tree. One of the improvements in the latest upgrade is you can zoom in and out of the research tree. Yeah, I mean, I think originally it was all big size, which was fine. You could read it, but it meant there was endless scrolling around and you kept losing where you were. So that is nice that we can now scroll it and get a bigger, broader picture. You can't read it, but you see, that's what I call a research tree. Yeah, there's a lot of effort needed to go into that, but that is to come. I think we will stop this episode here. I think we're running a little bit long. I don't like to make these episodes too long. We haven't achieved a great deal. We've simply introduced the game. Look, oh for goodness sakes, these people are in 4 countries. 3, oh, I'm right, I need to get a grip. I need to start moving out to other countries. I need at least one more market I can sell into. And that's where we will start in the next episode. I thank you so much for joining me today for this opening episode of a brand new series of Computer Tycoon. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, it'd be great to hear from you. A bit of a like would be lovely. Click on the old thumbs up button. Even better though, if you've got any thoughts, any suggestions, recommendations, hints or tips, or even criticisms of what I'm doing with the game, then do make a note in the comments box below. That would be lovely. My market share is tiny. Oh dear. Well, I'm not even halfway through the year yet. Yeah, that's a sad graph. I think I should go there. That's a much brighter looking graph. Yeah, so please do make anything you've got to say, just drop it into the comments box below. Always great to hear from you. And of course, if you've not already subscribed to the channel, you can do that now just by, well, clicking on the subscribe button. And that way you'll know when I upload another one of these or any of my other Let's Play series. But for me, Ajaxpost, here in Computer Tycoon, Series 3, I'll see you again soon. But until then, bye-bye for now.